I'm not a graceful gazelle.
You're not a ballet dancer,
No.
black swan.
I do.
No.
I'm here with Snippins, Weenus, also known as Precious Boo Boo, and Lishy. And today we're talking physical accidents, ouchies, with friends who love to give each other the business.
In the back of the El Camino, and my dad was giving my friend a ride home. I was probably 14, maybe 13. I was sitting on my skateboard in the back of the El Camino, and an El Camino is a pickup truck, but it's on a car frame in the olden timey days. So it has the pickup gate, and I had closed that from the inside, and I was sitting on my skateboard, and Dad sort of rolled the stop sign at 26th Street, a 90-degree turn, and hammered it because it was like a race car type of deal.
Did you forget you were back there?
No, Dad, we used to race cars, so we liked cars, so we drove like maniacs sometimes. My skateboard rolled, smashed into the gate, it flew open, and I flew out, ass over tea kettle. And I remember things move in slow motion when bad stuff's happening like that, and I remember my fingers trying to grab and hang on and them falling off. And the next thing I remember, wham, my back of my head smashing into the asphalt, and then turning over while I was still sliding on my nose and looking up, and a car was screeching to a halt in front of me. And then the next thing I remember, it was like 4 hours later, and I woke up mid-conversation at a party. I had abrasions on my face and on my nose, and I was meeting a buddy of mine, and we used to walk. We would meet halfway, and there's a really long stretch of prairie. It was Illinois. And from like 100 yards, 200 yards away, he's laughing like hysterically. And as we get closer, he said, it was winter, he said, "Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You look like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer," because I had a big scab on my nose.
Did you get a concussion? Is that why you were missing?
I think that's why. I think you might say that I probably did, because I blacked out for several hours.
I mean, I'm laughing, but
But Dad was unemployed, so we didn't go to the doctor because this is the United States.
He took you to a party, the next best thing.
I was going to work. I was working overtime, so it was very early in the morning, like 5 o'clock in the morning. It was around Easter time. I had a bag of jelly beans in my lap while I was driving, and it was still dark out. I dislike black jelly beans a lot. And so I'm driving, I'm trying to see, is that a purple jelly bean? Is that a black jelly bean? And I look up, my car was in the wrong lane. And so I just ease it back over. And I don't know what happened to my car, but just easing it back over, it slid sideways, slid off the side of the road and hit a ditch and flipped all the way over.
what?
I was facing the wrong way, so I did a 180 and it rolled all the way over. It ended up
Like onto the top or back onto the wheels?
It rolled onto the top and then back onto the wheels. I broke my back because when the car flipped on its roof, my head hit the door jamb. Like, I hit my head so hard that my head was like sunken in. I had compression fractures in my spine from hitting my head so hard.
This isn't an ouchie. This is like a serious fucking injury.
They gave me, you know what they did? They gave me a shot of Demerol and sent me home. And then I had to go car shopping. And I went to...
Did they give you one of those back braces? Did you get a back brace?
No. They didn't do anything. They're like, walk it off. I was like, you bet.
Do you have any lingering like injuries with the back thing?
I was so young. I was in my 20s. I could do anything. But I went to see my car, and they're like, your car's totaled. And I was like, yeah. But I looked, and there was jelly beans in the back window. There's jelly beans on the dash. There was jelly beans everywhere. I was like, oh, don't eat in jelly beans.
You think it was, in fact, the black jelly bean?
I don't know. There was jelly beans everywhere.
You remember taking shop classes in junior high school?
Did you use a finger?
I had wood shop and metal shop.
We were making this hibachi thing. The grill was really thick metal, and so I was cutting it in one of those things where you step on the plate and it brings the blade down to cut it. So I tried to step on it, and the blade wouldn't move because it was too thick. So I stood on it, and it still didn't come down. And there was another kid there who came in early to finish up his thing because we were both behind. And he was like, oh, I'll get on there with you. So he got on it too. So there's two of us now standing on it. And he jumped. And then I kind of wiggled around because I almost lost my balance. And then it came down. And as I was coming down, my leg scraped along the end of the metal. So it cut a giant gash into my leg. And I had 32 stitches. And I bled everywhere in that shop. There was like blood everywhere.
Did you think you were going to die?
The first thing I said was, I think I need a Band-Aid. Which is not at all what the situation called for. They took tape and just a bunch of napkins, from the wall and just wrapped it around my leg. But there was still blood just dripping all the way down my leg. And it was
Why didn't they just use like a maxi pad?
That's an excellent question. I don't think they had those just laying around in those days. I think that came later.
In those days, it was still a faux pas in witchcraft.
Well, that's after the time where all the girls go missing at snack or lunch, and you don't know where they all went. And when they come back, they have a death stare in their eyes, because I think that's when they drag them all in and tell them that they're baby machines, right? Isn't that what happens?
The pamphlets that they won't let you read.
Yeah, but all the girls go missing, and then we have to watch Parent Trap, and then when we're done with Parent Trap, they all come back in, and their eyes are just glazed over.
That's so
No, for us, that was 6th grade. The girls went over to Miss Venezzi's room and with Mrs. Hendricks, and we had Mr. Rader and somebody else, and we learned about wet dreams, ejaculation.
What? Wait, they told the boys something while they were telling the girls something else? Huh. Because in my school, they didn't tell us anything. They were just like, you have like an hour and a half lunch and or snack, and we would just play kickball, just all dudes. And they didn't tell us anything.
Living the dream.
Snippets, what happens when did you have that thing where they dragged you in and told you something?
Oh, yeah.
What is it that they tell you? What is this magical mystery that?
Yeah, they tell us about our uteruses and our ovaries and that kind of thing, and how
do they just draw a picture of like Bullwinkle moose on a whiteboard? Is that what it is?
Were any of the girls shocked by what they learned in there?
No.
Like one girl's like, what the fuck?
Precious Boo Boo, do you have an ouchie story?
One that comes to mind because it was around the time I was working with you, or probably like after you had moved back to LA, but at the shop, our friend Canceled Bootman was giving me a ride home. And we were having some laughs and spritzes in the car, so the energy was high. And for whatever reason, I was like, get out of his old, I don't know if you remember, he had an old, very beat up, like white pickup truck. I had like a burst of energy, so I thought, I'm going to hop into the bed of the truck, run past the cab, and like smack the top of the cab behind him. Burst of energy as you have when you're 19 or whatever. And then I would hop out of the truck. Well, I go to, I plant my 2 palms down onto the edge of the truck to hop, push myself up and hop into the bed. And he was not paying attention. He just heard me get out of the car, door closed. He gasses it. So now I'm up where my elbows are straight, so I'm all the way up onto my palms. The gas happens. Suddenly there's no truck below me. And I fall straight down, chin first onto the concrete. And I instantly I have that shock where I'm like, like that. Something just got hurt. And something feels wet. I walk into the house, I look into the bathroom, and I can see the chin bone. It's split right open. Oh. Yeah. And I was like, I was still in shock, basically. So I wasn't necessarily panicking. I was just kind of like, uh-oh, what do I do? I actually think I was thinking, I need a Band-Aid. I think I was thinking that. But then I was like, that looks like more than a Band-Aid. And my grandfather had come home at the time, and he actually helped me get something that like pinched it together. Under my little chinny chin here, I still have there's like a lump where it was, where the scar grown over or whatever. But yeah, I went from, and it was like a tall truck. So I had pushed all the way up, truck gone, chin straight down to the concrete or the asphalt.
You hear that weird whistle?
Yeah.
Did Bootman say, put it up, Baba? And that was yourself?
No. Put it up, Bobby. Put it up.
He got home. He had no idea that he had left me laid out in the parking lot. He had no clue.
He didn't
he left.
Doesn't he have a rear view mirror? He could see you on the floor.
He didn't look. He was just
what? He just ditched you?
Like he had no idea. He had no clue that I even jumped onto the back of the truck. He had no idea. It was just I put my palms down. I pushed myself up, and then he gassed it. I land, he's gone. By the time I was up to my feet, he'd probably already turned the corner.
So I used to smoke cigarettes. I'm like 20-something years old, 19 years old, and I learned from my dad, you smoke cigarettes when you're on the shitter. And when you're done, you move your junk over and throw the thing in the cigarette butt into the pot.
No.
Yes, do go on.
Not moving my junk over far enough, I basically put the cherry on the head of my penis and screamed in pain. And I had like a mark on it for a time. I had put a cigarette out of my dick.
I had a friend at that same time that I got my injury who burned his dick making pizza. And when we were like, how the fuck did you burn your dick making pizza? He's like, I didn't have pants on. And we said, what?
And when he pulled it out, it like went right into his.
I guess so. I mean, we never got the full details, but I would assume he was probably taking something from the oven. Like maybe he ran out naked or something. It was probably a freezer pizza, I would hope. I hope he wasn't naked making like a gourmet homemade, like
outside in his grotto.
He's got the flour all over his naked belly. Oh, I scalded myself with boiling water the other day.
Were you pulling it out of the microwave?
No, I
Shrimp.
no, I was making pasta and I needed to save a little pasta water. And I was about to drain the spaghetti and I realized, fuck, I forgot to add.
What would you use pasta water for?
No, you add it to like the sauce you're making, not later, like later in the same meal. You put it in and it helps keep like sauces creamier and stuff.
Yeah, it's got a lot of starch in it and thickens.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like starch. I'm not like jarring it up to save pasta water. No. I was saving it for like another step. I saved like a cup of it, but of the thing I was making, I forgot to add this like cream cheese to it, and it occurred to me as I was passing over the pan with the pot that I was going to drain, and I said, "Fuck." So I was like, "All right, let me get another cup of the pasta water and just try to account." As I dipped the cup into the pot I was holding, my fingertip hit the edge of the pot, and I did that reaction thing. Yeah. So I pulled the cup up, and as I sprayed myself with the boiling water in the cup, I then spilled the the pot, and there was water. My hand got the bulk of it, but it did splash down onto my legs and stuff. But they were fine. I'm too hairy.
Nippins, tell us the falling down on your own the stairs story.
Which time? What?
Yeah,
which time?
Which time is true? Because for many weeks while we were on Discord, you would come on and be like, I just fell on all my stairs. But just give us one.
That's a really good snippet.
Somebody help me. Oh, Lordy.
I fall a lot. So Boney's makes me wear these ridiculous footwears when I go to his house.
I give you Crocs when you come here, Snippins, because you usually wear these very heavy boots and just slam around the house, and I hate that.
With cleats.
No, they're just like combat boots.
Giving someone replacement footwear because they walk too loud when they come visit you is a little psychopathic.
No, that's
Clomp.
Slam. There's no reason for that. I didn't join the German army.
So I'm going up the stairs. His stairs, like you go up and then you turn 90 degrees and go up. And when you go up to the landing, there's like a big metal door. My large flipper foot caught on a stair and my head just plowed right into that door. And I screwed my knee up. I hurt my knee and my head.
Yeah, no one to hear Frankenstein's monster clomping around their house. I'm on your side on this one, Boney. Sorry.
I lived with a couple of roommates, and one of the roommates' girlfriends who was petite, she had a walk where it was like her head was like a good foot in front of her feet. So she was always sort of stumbling forward, chasing her body weight. And right. She had this very heavy walk. And when she would walk upstairs, I would irrationally hate her. Now the more I think about it, the more I am kind of understanding where your frustration was. Because sometimes I would think like, God, I hope she'd fall down the stairs. Is that what you did to poor Snippins? You wished it fall.
I got her those shoes so she would stop making so much of a racket. So I have tallied our votes. And feel free to run in the comments section who you think is never right in this episode. In my defense, Snippins, you fall anyway all the time. So I don't think you can systematically blame those particular footwears.
Like I'll be walking my dogs and I just fall out for no reason. I don't know why.
You're hitting like a crack, like and sometimes the sidewalk has that like disjointed.
Yeah, like my foot will just roll over and I'll just tumble around. It's a lot.
Your kid is stepping on a crack at that exact moment.
That's what it is. And you already broke your back, so the fates just have to chuck you down.
I'm very clumsy. You're never right. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want more content from the Never Right podcast.